Hey friends, welcome in. My name is Sabrina, for those of you who do not know me yet, and it is Friday night, which means it is time to get lit. AKA it's time to talk about literature, the books that I've been reading lately. And here on Friday Night Lit, what we do is first we make a drink. Usually it's non-alcoholic. I don't really drink that much. And then we go to the chair and we talk about the books. I either have 5 or 6 books to talk to you about this week. I cannot remember off the top of my head, but first let's talk about the drink. So I don't know about you, but I have all of these golf cart bar ladies on my algorithm, and it's just them on the golf course making drinks from their little cart. And I watch it because I'm fascinated by it. And the other day, this video popped up for me that was one of those. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds so delicious. So I went to the store and I got all the ingredients to make it. This is called a shark bite. So in true golf course fashion, I have the disposable cup. Okay, cup of ice. So this drink starts with a base drink, which is called a fire hydrant, which is 1 shot of vodka. This is non-alcoholic vodka alternative. And while I get that prepared, the first book that we have to talk about tonight is, we might not be talking about books because I can't get this open. There we go. Summer Sisters by Judy Blume. If you're inclined, you could definitely do a double, but since this is fake vodka anyway, it's literally just here to add some vodka-y flavor to the drink. So I'm just gonna go with a single shot. Then we take our blue Gatorade or Powerade. And the second book is Habits of the Sea by Shay Earnshaw. And we're just measuring with our heart here. I don't really know how much is supposed to go in there. That looks about enough. I hope you guys can actually see the cup. I don't know if you can actually, oh, that looks pretty. So this is mimicking our ocean. We're gonna go with a little bit of Sprite. I have no idea why, just this is how drink's made. And we're gonna talk about Isles of the Emberdark. We also have to talk about these summer storms. Putting in a little bit of lemonade. I hope everyone at my house is thirsty because now I have all these drinks that are like open and need to be consumed. Hold on. And we need to talk about Every Summer After. Did I say that one already? I think, yeah, Every Summer After. Now, this is the part where it goes from being a fire hydrant. That's a fire hydrant, what we have right here. It's gonna go from a fire hydrant to being a shark bite. So first we have shark gummies. I don't know if the camera will be able to see this, but these are Sharp Shake gummies. I'm gonna put like, I don't know, I'll put like 2 in here just cause, yeah. Actually, I think I was supposed to stir this before I put the sharks in there, but whatever. Let's just stir it with the sharks in there. It'll be like they're chumming the waters. No, I don't know what I'm talking about. Sharks don't chum the waters. You chum the waters for the sharks, right? Okay, well, I was meant to chum the waters first. We're gonna do it second. And we'll talk about the Library of the Unwritten. Okay, since I did that in like the wrong order, the sharks are now at the bottom of the ocean. So let's just put one more on the top. We'll put him with his tail coming out. So now we have a fire hydrant with our sharks in it, and now we're gonna make it a shark bite by adding a little bit of grenadine. And let me see if I can like, so you kind of get it, right? The shark bite. I thought that was hilarious. We're gonna put a little lid on here. And somewhere I have a straw that I brought with me. Shark bite. That was one of the more fun drinks that I've made on this TV series. I was just reading a second ago about how YouTube now has TV series as an option that you can put on your channel as a creator. And I was like, how can I make a TV series out of what I do? I don't know. That's something that I need to ponder. Anyway, our drink is ready. We know what books we're going to talk about. Let's go over to the chair and get into these books. We'll taste our drink over there as well. Okay, we have our shark bite. All the sharks are at the bottom of the ocean. Looks like they've been happily feeding, so let's give it a taste. Oh, that is really good. Like, I was kind of talking junk about the Sprite, like it didn't seem like it was necessary to me. But it does add a little something to the drink. Like it clearly, there's very little Sprite in here, but I clearly get the little Sprite, like a little spritz of Sprite. but I can see how being out in the hot sun golfing all day would make this like a phenomenal treat. Oh my God. And you get to eat a little gummy bear at the end. Oh, this is delish. Okay. I think I've said this in like multiple videos now, but I'm taking this to the pool party. Now, the pool party for my book club is coming up in like 3 weeks. Have I read the book yet? No. Am I the leader of the book club? Yes. Am I going to read it? I think so. Everyone deserves to skip book club book once in a while, right? No, I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it. But I have no idea what I'm taking to this party yet. I think I'm supposed to make a fruit dish that my sister requested. I'm going to make that, but I feel like I should bring something else. And the shark bite feels like the perfect thing to bring. It's a pool party. We're in the water. Oh my God, this is great. I'm so glad I made this. And now I know the second thing that I'm going to bring to the party. If, like I said at the beginning, this is your first time here, or if you've forgotten what we do here on Friday Night Lit, we talk about the books that I've been reading lately, and I try to avoid real plot spoilers for the books, but there may be some heavy plot discussion. But if you want to avoid any spoiler whatsoever of a book, you want to skip right past that book to the next one, go down to the box down below, and you can click on the timestamp for the next book, and you will avoid that. All right, let's talk about it. The first book that I have, and I had to look down because I can't remember what it was, even though it was in my hand, is Judy Blume's Summer Sisters. Okay, really quick, this book, we have Caitlin and Vix. Caitlin is from a pretty wealthy family who has a summer home on the lake up near New England somewhere, something-ish. I cannot remember the location anymore. And she goes to school with this girl, Vix. Vix is from a not so well-to-do family, and Caitlin invites Vix to go to her family's summer home. It starts this thing where they start going every single year. Now they start calling themselves Summer Sisters, which is kind of just like a code for lesbians. True story, they do lesbian stuff. It's like, okay, so that first summer, they kind of like spend the year exploring each other. And that's how they become Summer Sisters. And it's very much about like female empowerment and everything. So in the following years, they keep going back to the lake house together. And it's very like teen angst heavy. There are also 3 teenage boys who are there with them. There's a whole family dynamic for Caitlin because her dad gets remarried. And it's just there's a whole lot of family vibes going on in this book. Vix kind of feels like she is the charity case of Caitlin's family, but she's also simultaneously reveling in that. So she's enjoying it because her family just doesn't have a lot to give her. And it gives her opportunity to go to a private school. It gives her the opportunity to eventually go to Harvard. And she is enjoying that. She's taking out from it what she can. And at the same time, also kind of feeling a little bit weird about it. Caitlin makes it super weird because Caitlin has invited Vix in and then starts beginning to feel like she is being overshadowed, being like not favored. And so Caitlin really needs to go to therapy is kind of like the bottom line of that. What happens is Caitlin kind of like sets Vix up for a birthday celebration one year. And like the birthday celebration, it's a little bit vague. There might have been some SA involved in that. Then they kind of have a little bit of a falling out. But before they can really even hash that out or figure out exactly like where to go from here, Vix has to return home because her ailing brother has passed away. I don't know. I feel like the situation never truly gets rectified. They kind of come back together and they remain friends throughout adulthood, but friends in the way that Caitlin is out traveling the world trying to find herself. And she's constantly calling Vix being like, hey, meet me in Aruba. Hey, meet me in Ibiza, like whatever. And she's just like in and out of like benders and with different guys and women and just living very recklessly on daddy's money is kind of how that works for Caitlin. We get the perspective of literally everybody in this book except for Caitlin. And so we get to see the perspective of her stepmom who's spending time trying to be like the perfect stepmom and trying to bring Caitlin into the fold, but also finding that relationship that she wanted to build with Caitlin with Vix. And then we see the perspective of Vix, who's like, I don't know why Caitlin's being so weird. And we see the perspective of some of the teenage boys that are in the house. We see the perspective of the parents that are involved. We see everyone's perspective except for Caitlin. You never truly know what is the truth with Caitlin. The end of the story, we think, ends tragically. And then if you retrospectively look at everything that happened in the book, it kind of becomes extremely clear that Caitlin is seeking validation her whole life, and she never truly gets it in the form that she wants it in. This book was unexpectedly deep, and a couple things off the jump. First of all, I had zero idea that Judy Blume wrote books that were geared towards adults. I was like, my childhood pen pal is writing books for adults. How is that a thing? So I'm glad that I read it. I got this as part of a blind date with a book summer package. And this is me in real time realizing that although I recorded, I never edited and posted the video of this. The Blind Date Summer series is supposed to be a series on my Instagram Reels. Oh my God. As soon as I finish this recording, I need to go edit that video and post it on Instagram. So now's a good time to remind you, if you are not following me on Instagram, go over there, hit the follow button, and you'll eventually see the reel for this. Hopefully I can get that reel up before this video posts. I don't know if that's going to be possible. We're on a tight deadline, y'all. Anyway, so Summer Sisters was incredibly good. I did not expect it to be as deep and as far reaching as it was. I thought it was going to be a whimsical little me and my best friend going to the lake house, and now we're adults and we kind of fall out of favor with each other. Here's the thing that really was the bulk of the book that I was just like, at the start, Vix gets a phone call as she's working in New York, and it is Caitlin saying she's getting married. And Vix is like, who are you getting married to? And she's like, oh, I thought you knew. I'm marrying your boyfriend that you had down here at my lake house all those summers. And then she goes on to say, you have to be my bridesmaid. I can't wait to see you. And Vix is like, yeah, of course I will. Not the boyfriend that she had to leave behind to go to Harvard, and they couldn't make the long distance thing work, but they're still pining for each other. There were a couple of really wild moments that happened. The weekend or whatever that Caitlin decides she's getting married to Vix's ex is Vix's birthday weekend, and they decide to have, was it the rehearsal dinner or the wedding itself was on Vix's birthday? So your girl is all kinds of out of pocket with this, and somehow Vix is just kind of going along with it, oh, that's just Caitlin. Caitlin's going to get curb stomped is what's going to happen. There's no way I'm putting up with that. You're getting married. You're going to get married to my ex-boyfriend on my birthday, and you're expecting me to show up and be your bridesmaid? Are you out of your mind? Oh, here, I found it in the book. It was her 25th birthday. That was their wedding date. And Caitlin said, that way you'll never forget our anniversary. Baby girl, you're not going to make it to the anniversary. Not if I'm the bridesmaid. Childish. So, vibes. The vibes were high. The vibes were a 5 because I had so many emotions reading this. I was like, yo, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And then the ending, just kind of Judy Blume, endless entertainment across the ages. Now I want to go see if she has other books that are adult geared that I'm gonna also love. The next book is Habits of the Sea. You know what? This one also has a video that I recorded. This one would have been for a short here on YouTube and did not post. I edited it. No, I didn't edit this one either. I transferred the footage to oh my God. What happened to me? Because those were on the same week. I finished these on the same week. Something happened to me that week and I never got around to posting any of my videos. Uh-oh. All right. Hopefully by the time you guys see this, both of those are up. The reel on Instagram of Summer Sisters, and then there should be a short here on YouTube of Habits of the Sea. So anyway, first of all, this book was magical realism. There is an island that has broken away from the Scottish like the side of Scotland. You know what I'm trying to say? There's a huge storm, and this chunk of land rips off of the side of Scotland and becomes an island that is drifting in the ocean. And there's one man who lives there. In that storm, he lost his wife who was birthing their twin children. And so he had to bury all three of them on that island. And he's just lived there ever since. He becomes a local legend. There are people who are like dedicated to the lore of this island and chasing it down. And so our main character here, our main female character here, when she is a like 12, 13-year-old, she wanders outside during a storm and she sees the island. So she decides that she's gonna swim over to it. And I'm like, I don't know why you thought that that was a good idea, but she does it. And so she ends up on the island with the guy. He's like, "Aye, lassie, what are you doing here?" Don't stop. That's okay. I should not do that ever again. Anyway, he's like, "What are you doing here?" And she's like, "Where am I?" And so he basically like feeds her, lets her sleep there for the night, and then sends her on a merry way the next morning back to the mainland. Well, she goes back the next morning, but apparently she's been missing for like a whole freaking week. Throughout the course of her life, like into adulthood, it's basically like a therapy exercise of like, that didn't really happen. Okay, so this is just all imaginary and I need to move on with my life. But in the back of her mind, she's like, if it didn't happen, where did I go? And apparently nobody else is invested in investigating where she went. We're just going to be like, "You're cuckoo. You were out in the woods hanging out by yourself," apparently. As an adult, this lady calls her while she's at work and is like, "Hey, I'm doing a podcast. It is about this island. And I was reading your eyewitness account of like where you went when you were a child. I was wondering if you'd be on my podcast." And she's like, she actually didn't answer the phone and she didn't return this lady's phone call. But then the lady called again and she's like, "Hey, just letting you know, the island's been spotted off the coast of somewhere. And I'm going there to check it out. Please let me know if you're willing to give a statement for my podcast." Well, what does our mama do? She's like, "Listen, I'm unhappy with my life. I keep thinking about this island. I don't even care about my fiance." So she books a flight and she's like going to go to this place where they spotted the island to go see if she can spot the island too. Long story short, she ends up back on the island. And the island floats away from the mainland. So she just ends up being stuck on the island. I think when she was going over to, she got seriously injured. And so our guy had to pull her into his house. He's always saving her. And she was knocked out cold for a number of days. And so when she comes to, she's like, "Where am I? What's going on?" And he's like, "What are you doing here?" And then she is like, "Oh, hey, there's been a mistake." And he's like, "And how did you get this locket?" And she's like, "Oh, I stole that when I was here 30 years ago." And he's like, "There's no way you're the girl who was here last year." So time moves differently on the island. For him, it's been like a year since she was there as a little kid and stole that locket. And for her, it's been decades. And so essentially what happens is she stays on the island because the island doesn't go back to the mainland for a very long time. They fall into a rhythm of life and it becomes a very slow burning romance story. But it's interesting because it's like a romance that is, I don't even want to say out of convenience. It's a romance that is built out of necessity. It's just the two of them on this island. At one point, they haven't seen other people in years. And so they're farming for themselves. She's darning socks. They're pining for each other, sort of, but also not. She's like, "It's kind of weird because I've lived a full life and he's lived a year. And I met him when I was like 12 or 13. He's like, "No, my wife and dead kids are buried on the other side of this island." It just is a very uncomfortable romantic tension. And at some point they hit like natural disaster. They had a drought first, and basically like they lose like all their crops died. They don't really have animals to eat anymore, and things are sparse. They don't have any drinking water. It's getting dangerous, and the island is not docking to land because the island just decides where they go, when they leave, how long they stay, yada yada yada. The whole time she's always thinking like, okay, I can take this little dinghy boat and I can go out and I can row myself to shore somewhere and I can go back to civilization. And it's always this like push and pull of will she or won't she? Is she going to stay? And he's like, "I don't want to fully be in this with you. If you're going to leave, if that is your plan, let me know. We can keep it real cute and casual." And it's just this like, it's like I said, it's like a sad, uncomfortable romantic tension. I don't know if I've ever read anything like that before. Now, the book was very well written. It was is prosaic a word? Because I feel like it was prosaic. It had really good elements of romance because we have to, because we're two adults and we haven't seen other people in a long time and you kind of fall into a romantic situation. It had really good elements of the climate situation written into it. And I'm going to get to that in just a second. And I thought that the characters were really well developed and like seen through. What was not really workable for me is that somewhere we went from this like discovery of self, sad, romantic undertone, weird magical realism situation into climate dystopia. Like it just flipped. And we're now in climate dystopia. So after they have the drought, they finally dock somewhere. And that's when we see that like the planet has been put into a climate disaster. And it's now a dystopian future, present for them. Like people show up on a USS warship, but they're not actual naval officers. And like, there's like no real fruit, or like society has gone into the dump. It took a super strange turn. And like, this is a 300, not even 300 pages. This is a 290 page book. So for us to spend so much time in climate dystopia, it didn't make sense. We spent a lot of time in it, but also not enough time in it for it to make sense for the book. So like for the vibes, I'm going to give the vibes like a 2. I just didn't have that fantastic of a time with it. Now, here's the thing. So this is why I do Friday Night Lit, and I kind of give a rating based on my vibes from reading it, which is different from a star rating of like how good of a book it is, because star rating, like I don't know what I gave this, but I'm feeling like it's about a 4 in terms of stars because the book was very well written. But like in terms of did I have a good time with it? Oh, I got a little twisted and turned around and confused, and I wasn't sure how we got to the place that we were in. So I don't know, she's a 2. So then there's the only book that I don't have physically, and remarkably, there's not a single book from my Kindle that is part of this video. I have been reading one book on my Kindle for like 3 weeks, and it's not even a long book, y'all. It is like 360 pages, I think, like real world pages, not Kindle pages. Should I DNF that book? Because it's not even bad. I just am not incentivized to read it. Like I'm not flipping the pages like, oh my God, this is so good. Then what happened? I'm just kind of like, oh, okay, that's nice. Anyway, we're not talking about that book. We're talking about the book that I checked out from the library and that I have returned. Isle of the Emberdark by Brandy Sandy. What was this book about? So I'm gonna be honest with you. I got a little dazed during this book. So I generally know what it's about, but I may have missed some of the finer details. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I had both the audiobook and the physical book, and neither one of them made me more interested in it. So what I can recall this book being about is we have this society out in the Cosmere, and there's essentially a bunch of islands, and they are governed by, the people's sort of religion that talks about a sea monster. And it's kind of how the sea monster shapes their society, but also how their society shapes the sea monster. And there's also these overlords who are coming to basically conquer their planet. And there's also a dragon who's trapped in her human form. And there's a lot of emphasis on the dragon's story. And I feel like it was so unnecessary because the dragon is part of the story in the end, or like she's an integral part of the story, but like her backstory was almost unimportant to me. And again, I kind of dozed off a part of the book because I just was like, I understand that there was an overall lesson we were supposed to take away from this book, which was, in my interpretation, first of all, AI is about to take over and we're all in for serious bad news. Second of all, in kind of the greater exploration of does our faith, and not necessarily religious faith, but just does our faith in things and the way that things work shape the way that things work? I'm not going to talk too much about this book simply because I mostly just kind of like dozed through it. I don't know. The story never was that interesting to me. While the story itself wasn't that fascinating to me, the myth of the people and the vibrant island scenes and just kind of like the way that the Cosmere was explored, which, mind you, this is only my second Brandy Sandy, so I'm not very familiar with the Cosmere, so that could have something to do with why I was just kind of like, about it. But I was listening intently to kind of pick up things about the Cosmere because I do plan on reading more Brandon Sanderson. Those things actually held my interest. So I was very interested in the just kind of like the descriptions of the islands and how they fit into the Cosmere and the local customs. But the story as a whole, I just didn't really care that much about. So sorry to Brandon. I mean, he'll be okay without me loving his book that much. But vibes wise, can I give this one a 2 as well? Like, I feel like it's getting higher vibes than it truly would get because I was interested in the vibrancy of the islands, the overlords, and trying to guess if they were humans or maybe they were the dragons or what. I don't know. But my throat hurts because I've been at a conference all week, like just got home last night, and I've been talking and screaming and shouting at all my besties in my professional industry for a week. And so I'm not going to spend any more time on Isles of the Emberdark because it just kind of is what it is. The next Brandon Sanderson that I'm reading is Elantris, and I am very much hoping that that book grabs my attention the way Tress of the Emerald Sea did. Because Elantris is meant to be my true entry into Brandon Sanderson. I don't know how I skipped ahead to Isles of the Emberdark. I think I saw the book cover and it was pretty. Yo, this drink is really good. I'm gonna have to make myself a second drink. Good thing I have all that extra drink up in there. So let's move on. Let's move on to more fun books to talk about. We have These Summer Storms by Sarah McLean. I just read this one in my reading vlog. So you guys will have just gotten my like full in-depth opinion reaction to this book. Short synopsis of this, we have a billionaire CEO guy. He's died. The main female character in here is his daughter, who is estranged, and she has to return to their family's private New England island for his not funeral. And she's there with her 3 siblings and her mother and her dad's company fix-it guy. Over the course of a week, they begin to play an adult version of the inheritance games because that is what is written into his will in order for them to inherit. Her siblings and her mother basically make it clear that in no uncertain terms is she going to stay here and she's going to play this game, even though she had been cut off years ago and she's not dependent on daddy's money anymore. She's a public school teacher. We go through a whole series of events with the whole family. So there's a reason why her brother needs the money. Basically, essentially, he's broke. Her sister needs the money because she doesn't have any prospects in life besides being a billionaire's daughter. Her mother needs the money because her mother is a billionaire's wife and she deserves it, according to her. And I can't remember, she has another sister, and I think her other sister doesn't actually need the money, but she's like, do it for the fam. So they spend a week on this island, and first of all, there is supposed to be a love story brewing between her and the fixer guy. And it's unbelievable. There is no romance brewing. They just tell us there's a romance. And it's like, I used to criticize everyone for being like, show me, don't tell me. I'm like, it's a book, they're telling us. And I have finally found the book that's like, show me, don't tell me. I just was like, you're not giving me anything to go on to believe that this is a romance. It's just kind of like, we're in love. We love each other so much. We have to find a way to be together. It's like, I feel like they were reading cue cards. Like, okay, I'm going to tell you that I love you so much, and then you're going to react to me. Like, that's really how their romance read from the pages. Like, I just didn't believe it. I didn't believe it at all. We got to the end, and I was kind of like, oh, I can kind of get a little bit of romance out of it, but no, not really. I'm not even sure that it needed a romance because the book itself was a really good, like, general fiction book. It's just billed as a summer romance, and I don't get it. The other thing is, It's called These Summer Storms. It's a gripping inheritance drama wrapped around a swoony summer romance. It also doesn't really give summer. There's like 2 storms in this book, like actual weather related storms in the New England summertime, but there's not nearly very much mention of it actually being summer. I don't get any like imagery of summer. Ridiculous. The camera overheated. So anyway, I'm back, and I believe I was just saying that it didn't really give summer vibes. And so in terms of the 1 to 5 scale of the vibes for this, for me, I'm going to give it a 3. I am just going to choose to ignore that this is supposed to be a summer romance. I'm going to think about it as it being a general fiction story. And it was a 3. I had a decent time. That's why they say reading is subjective, because I can do things like that. Now my drink is all melty. Okay, we got 2 more books to go. So also part of that reading vlog is Every Summer After. So this one, you also will have had like my full thoughts on, and I was watching the playback of this video. So I do this thing, anytime YouTube suggests my own video to me, I watch it like as background noise, because I feel like if YouTube is pushing the video to a person they think would watch it and that person doesn't watch it, then it's telling YouTube that it's not watchable. I don't know. This makes sense in my head. Okay. So I was watching that video back, and I realized that I somehow cut out the footage of me explaining like the synopsis of this book. So a number of the things that I said when I was talking about it didn't even make sense. I don't know how I cut that footage out. Like, I literally just left it on the floor. I don't know what happened in editing. I must have like accidentally hit like the backspace or delete button when I was editing, and like I just didn't realize it in the final watch through. Anyway, thanks for rocking with me anyway, y'all. I'm not a professional, okay? I try, but I'm not. So let me give you the synopsis in this video, and maybe that will help you with the other video. In this story, we have Persephone. She lives in Toronto, and her family, they buy a lake house. I'm picking up a theme here. So her family gets a lake house. Like, we had a lake house in Summer Sisters. Her last name is Fraser, Fraser, and I'm currently reading Outlander. And the main guy, well, like one of the main guys, his last name is Fraser, spelled exactly the same way. Okay, so sorry, what was I saying? Persephone's family, we call her Percy. Percy's family gets a lake house because her parents want her to kind of like have some time away from the mean girls at school and to just relax. Well, as soon as they show up to their new house, there are these 2 boys who live next door, and they basically develop a friendship. And so there's the older brother, Charlie, there's a younger brother, Sam, and she becomes really close friends with Sam. They hang out day in and day out. She goes back to school for the school year, and then when the next summer comes, they start all over again. Throughout the course of the 6 summers that her family spends at their house, at their lake house, she and Sam eventually get into a relationship, sort of. Sam is very shy and like doesn't really ever come right out and say that he wants to be with her until it's like their 6th summer. And then finally, it's like time to go away to college. He goes to college, things get super weird, and she basically takes that personally. She has validation issues as well. She needs validation from other people, and she's somehow not getting it, and I don't really understand why, but whatever. And so then she does something to wreck their relationship, and at some point in their first year of college, they're home together or whatever, and Sam proposes to her, and she's like, no, because she has all this guilt. And so they break up because, like, how do you recover from a no to a marriage proposal? So years down the road, Charlie, the older brother, calls Percy and is like, hey, our mom died, and I think you should come to the funeral. So she has to go back to the lake area. Her family has already sold their lake house, so she's selling it. So she's staying at some flea bag motel in town, and she eventually runs into Sam. It's a very awkward reunion. Sam has a girlfriend who I think he doesn't even like, and they spend some awkward time together. It's a kind of like, are they going to get back together sort of situation. And so we spend time going back and forth between the past where something happened and the now where she's agonizing over like, can I and should I start up a relationship with Sam again? She's been pining for him all these years. So like, you might as well just go ahead and do it, girl. It's also Sam's mother's funeral. So Sam is having complicated emotions about all sorts of things, and she's having complicated emotions about her guilt. Essentially, what happens is they almost hook up. They almost do it right before his mom's funeral, which is super weird. But I guess grief it manifests differently for all sorts of people. And then they basically get to a point where they do hook up. And after they hook up, she tells him what she did that caused her all this guilt that made her say no to his marriage proposal. And he's like, yeah, girl, I know. He knew. Now, he didn't know the whole time, but he has known for some time. And apparently, he just didn't care. Now, here's where I'm going to give you a spoiler. You don't need to jump ahead too far. Just hit the double tap and fast forward for 10 seconds because I'm going to tell you what happened right now. Ready, set, go. She slept with his brother. And he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's like, it's fine. I love you so much. What? Some things you don't recover from, and I feel like this is one of them. But apparently, they have recovered from it. Now, I just kind of felt throughout the whole, like, not throughout the whole book, but towards the end of the book, I was like, none of you people are adults. Not Charlie, not Sam, not Percy. Nobody's an adult here, and I don't really get it. And other than my disagreement with the characters and just the way that they behave and everything, I still had a fantastic time with this book. So, this is my second Carly Fortune. I love her writing. It is a simplistic writing that you don't have to stretch too hard for, but you still get everything that you need out of. Her imagery, her painting the picture of summer is done so freaking well. Like this gave me everything I needed in a summer book. Everything I needed, even though I was annoyed with the people for just like not being responsible adults. This book gave me all that I wanted and needed and was craving in a book for summer. So I'm glad that I read a book in my summer reading blog that turned out to just be what I wanted. Now, let me talk to you about something that is just kind of annoyed me. Just ticked me off. I did a whole reading vlog where I read 3 books that all have summer in their title. That's the previous one, the one that I've been talking about here, where I also read These Summer Storms. And I finished reading this one the day before that, 2 days before that vlog went live. The day after the vlog went live, Goodreads is like, we have a new reading challenge for you guys, and it's going to be to read a book with the word summer in the title. First of all, they're copycatters. Second of all, I literally just did that. Now I have to read another one. It's okay. I own like 5 or 6 of the ones that are on the list, so I'm going to read another one, but I don't have time for another full vlog of it, so it's fine. I just really I wanted someone to be infuriated with me about that. So back to Every Summer After, I just like Carly Fortune's writing is just quintessential summer romance with tension and angst and the summery setting. And it's like, it's very formulaic. If you read her books, they're all very similar. But when you know what you're good at, why not just be good at that and do that thing? Like, I happen to agree with her. I'm like, yes, girl, you're good at this. Keep doing this. So I'm interested to read, what's the one that came out this year? Our Perfect Storm, maybe? It's the purple cover, because her covers are all very similar as well. It's the purple covered one. I'm very interested to read that one. I see that it's gotten some mixed reviews, but what can I say? I like Carly Fortune's style. So again, we're supposed to be talking about this book, Sabrina. So Every Summer After, in terms of the vibe, I'm going to hit it with a 5. Like, it just was so perfect for my summer reading, and it just did and gave me everything that I was looking for. How could it not be a 5? Win for Carly Fortune. Okay, I do have one more, and that is The Library of the Unwritten. I'm not sure exactly how much I want to talk about this book, because this is going to be coming up in a reading vlog in 2 weeks, a week from now. I can't remember. And you know what? I'm just going to do it. Just know that there's a full reading vlog coming out about this. So you'll get like all of my like kind of like behind the scenes thoughts or whatever. But I don't know that you guys really care that much about this being in like linear fashion, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So Library of the Unwritten, this one is I want to say it's a YA book, but it is about, maybe it's not YA, I don't know. But anyway, this is about a librarian who works in something called the Unwritten Wing. So this is a library in hell that features all of the books that are unwritten. So they're ideas in authors' minds. And so in this wing, the books, like the characters in the books themselves, can escape. And so it's the librarian's job to go track them down when they escape and put them back in their book. There are a good number of exceptions to this that are, some of them are kind of funny, some of them are a little harrowing. But the base of this story is that a character escapes back onto Earth. So usually when they escape, I think they're running around hell somewhere. This particular character escapes onto Earth. And so our librarian has to go and fetch him. And she takes a little boy with her. I think he's like a teenager. She takes one of the demon teenagers with her. They go up to Earth and they track down our guy, and he is basically the hero of his own story. So they call him literally Hero. And through a series of events, they don't exactly go back to the Library of the Unwritten to put Hero back into his book. They end up on a side quest, and this side quest is to actually find Satan's Bible, or a piece of Satan's Bible. It becomes a fantastical tale that is rich with biblical lore mixed in with real world things that are happening. And we have angels and demons and other librarians, and we have characters from fictional stories who pop out of the pages, and there is an epic battle that takes place in this, and it's all just so good. Like, I really don't know that I was expecting to love this. If we're being honest, I picked up this book at a discount bookseller, because I loved the cover. There's something about covers like this where it's like a person and there's like a ripped open book, and like I've seen so many books that look like this that have similar cover styles to this that I want to pick them all up. And I picked up this one because it was at a discount store. It was only $8.50, and B, it was about a library, and like those are just like things that I love. So I picked this book up specifically because of the cover. So I don't know that I was expecting it to be a really, 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 really good story. I was expecting to mostly enjoy it. I'm always very interested in magical realism that has to do with books and stories. That's just something that has always fascinated me. So that's why I picked up the book, but I had such a pleasantly good time with this. So for the vibes, I'm going to give it a 4. And I am genuinely ready to read book 2. Like, I'm going to go to the bookstore to find book 2. The thing about buying a book at a discount store, at a secondhand store, is that it's very difficult to find the next one unless you buy them all together. And they only had one of them at the time. Plus, that was in Virginia, and it was a while ago. So probably going to have to buy this at full price. I am going to go to a secondhand store first and see if I can find it, because I'm also ready to pick up the second book in the Outlander series. But yeah, I'm going to go to the bookstore and I'm going to buy book 2, and I'm going to read that very, very soon because I really want to read that. That was Library of the Unwritten, and that is all the books that I've been reading lately. So I feel like it's been a while since I've done a Friday Night Lit, but I also feel like I have not finished that many books in the time frame in between. So I don't know what's going on there. I think I've just honestly been really busy, like with work. I've had conferences that were 2 weeks apart from each other, and like a work conference is a big undertaking. I don't know about you, but So my reading has just kind of like slowed down. I'll also say about that drink, that fake vodka actually kind of has a little bit of a punch to it. You definitely are getting the vodka flavor with it, which I know vodka is flavorless, but it's also not. So the drink was really good. Anyway, 5 books. There's one more that is back at the library. But here we are. And so now that I'm somewhat recovered from all the conferences, I can get back to my normal reading pace and maybe also find a little bit of energy along the way. I am exhausted. I'm exhausted. But what else do I need to say here? I cannot remember, literally. So I'll just cut it off. I'll just cut myself off. There's no reason for me to continue talking. So thanks for hanging out with me. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, and leaving me a comment down below. I'm going to do the thing that all the other booktubers do and not ask you for a specific comment, but if you don't have anything you'd like to say to me, just leave me a summer emoji, because I have a number of summer books in this stack. Anything that makes you think of summer. Maybe, what's the bikini one? The bathing suit emoji? That one. Leave that one down in the comments for me. I've never done that before, so why not try it out right now? So leave that down in the comments for me if you don't have anything else to say. And with that, I will see you all in the very next video.